My name is Erin Adams. I'm an interdisciplinary artist living here in Los Angeles, California. My work and this show that I'm in right now is video work, performance, and then there's quite a bit of sculptural work involved here. And I'm using salvaged and found materials. It was created in COVID. I was still at the University of California, Santa Barbara, and everything was in lockdown. It had just been the summer of protests from the murder of George Floyd. So I was thinking a lot about I Can't Breathe. I was thinking a lot about safety and protection, and I knew that I wanted to use this big plastic walking bubble. So the walking bubble represented all of that, but within the center of the walking bubble is me as a student, an unconventional student, queer, older, and a female. So it's sort of like a lot of things mixed together, which is very often the case with my work, where I'm mixing mediums and I'm mixing messages, and that was the beginning of sort of this work. It's the idea of like, what do we do after we fall? We try to get back up, or we reimagine how to get back up. This piece kind of came out of nowhere. I was doing research on the term lesbian because I hadn't seen it in writing as much as I had seen it before. And also I'm doing a lot of applications at that time for residencies, grants, all kinds of ways to connect with the art world. And I'd see non-binary, male, female, non-binary, genderqueer, da-da-da-da-da, but no more lesbian was on the questionnaire. And I was like, wow, that's a word that has pretty much defined me. As a kid, it would have been something that people would have teased me about. Later on, it was sort of like, the thing that as an adult female I became more proud of and more an activist for gay rights. And then later on, now it's just disappearing. And the studies had shown that it was down to like 0.02% is what people identify as now as lesbian. So I just used that in the context of my name and renamed it Erin Elizabeth Adams. And so that's what the front of the signage piece says. And it's lit from behind in an American landscape, or the way I envision an American landscape, in kind of a diorama form, which is a box with lights on the inside showing all the different spindles. And all these different spindles are all kinds of different forms of furniture. I worked in the interior design field for 35 years, so furniture was a big part of that. Like different styles, what do they mean? It's very nationalistic. There's a lot of Asian styles, there's a lot of Spanish style, there's a lot of mid-century modern, there's all kinds of styles. So I made a little landscape tableau behind my name, and that's the first time I've worked with the spindles. So I was pretty excited to find them everywhere in the streets and start compiling them, taking apart the pieces of furniture, putting them back together in different ways, new and different ways, to tell the same story about like collapsing and then getting back up. So splat is sort of that referencing that falling down in a splat of things. And then the piece in the back, which is called Anthropocene, also references that. This piece right here is called Thank You, and it's more about the healing process. These pieces right here are sort of referencing architectural columns like the ones you have in front of this building right here, and they're like breaking apart so that nature can come back. And I'm starting to do new work about rewilding, and that's sort of the source of the beginning of that piece. So they're all kind of involved with each other and in conversation with each other, and I'm in conversation with the materials, and I'm not exactly sure, where I'm going with it, but it's pretty exciting to have something new that I can work with. And I don't see out there in the art world too often. So this show that I'm doing right now with Leslie Foster is called Call and Response, And it's a lot about what do we do after trauma? How do we get back up and find joy after these constant cycles of trauma we've been having in the last few years? So yeah, that was the beginning of those thoughts. You know, often I'm surprised about, I think it's exciting to be an artist and to have the opportunity to show, because you get to hear comments that you didn't expect. There was a little boy that was at the show, at the exhibition opening, and he was talking about how he felt. He has autism, and he was talking about how he felt about this piece, and he felt like it was similar to like the flags at Iwo Jima, where all the people are holding them up, the soldiers were holding them up, and trying, like everybody working together to try to pull together and salvage something. So salvaging and using salvage materials was really of interest to me, and I think he kind of got the gist of it, even though he said it in a different way than I've ever heard. So I guess I get excited about those things, you know. How will people connect? It's like, I don't know. But it's exciting for me to find out. And I learned